Hello everyone, welcome to week 6 of problem solving session for NPTEL course Programming in C. I'm Nikita and today we are going to look at a couple of problems related to arrays. Is the text clear on the slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's go over the quiz questions first and then we will have a couple of programming questions. The first question here is asking which is the right way to initialize an array in C. There are 4 options and you have to tell which of these are correct.
Option B are correct.
Others, you can reply in the chat box as well. Does everyone agree that here option B is correct while A, C and D are incorrect? Okay. So we in C, the way we, and I think it is true for almost all other languages as well, when we want to declare an array. So first of all, in C, we write the type of the data that we want to store in the array. So here, let's say we want to store in the array integers, then we will write here int. And then after we give some name to that array, we can say ARR, that is the name of the array. After that, we use two square brackets. This notation here, actually, this represents an array in C. This notation is saying that ARR here is an array of type integer. Okay. And currently it does not have any, we have not given the size of the array here. We have not specified that how long is the array. So if I say here that 2, that means that the array is of size 2, which means that the array can store 2 integer values. So it is like this, that let's say this is ARR and it can store 2 values in this. And the indexing for the array starts from 0, 1. The first element is at index 0, the second element is at index 1. And we can have any integer values, say 27 minus 9. So this is an array. This is a way we declare arrays in C. Now, how do we then initialize the array? The question is about that which of the following is the right way to initialize an array in C using initialization list or something like that. So this is the notation to declare the array. Then here we can have something like int array, and then we use this curly braces, and inside the curly braces we can give the list of the elements that we want to initialize the array with. So here we can say 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now what it is going to do is that it is going to create an array of size 5 here, and values at indexes starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 will be filled with the initialization list values. Okay, and this is the index. here, as you can note that I haven't here specified any that what the number of elements in the array. So if you're giving it a list of elements, then and that is the size of the array that you want to create, then you do not actually need to specify the size in the square brackets. But if you do, then that is also correct. You can write here 5 and that is also correct. If you do not write, that is also a correct syntax. Now now a question for you, that if I write this, then is it correct or incorrect?
Correct.
Okay, what will be the values in the array?
1, 2, 3, and 0, 0.
0 0. Are you certain that the values will be 0 0?
In last,
Yeah.
yes. That will be 0 as it will be implicitly assigned value to that.
Okay. Others, I also want others to participate in discussion. Does anybody has any other answers, or all of you agree? Is it clear how we declare array, what an array is? If not, just let me know. So the question is that you can see a array declaration and initialization on the screen. Int array 5 is equal to this list of elements 1, 2, 3. Now the question is it correct way of initializing this array or not? And if it is correct, then what are the values in the array? Okay, so the answer is that this is correct way of initializing the array, and the array will have values 1, 2, 3 on indexes 0, 1, 2, as correctly told by Rohit. But the values at indexes 4 and 5 are garbage values. So you really don't know what value will be there. It can be anything which is already there in the memory. So in C, when you create an array, it does not initializes it with value 0 for you implicitly. It can be any arbitrary value, like you can't even say what value will be there. So it's called like these are garbage values. Garbage means it can be anything which is already there in the memory. It can be 0, it can be non-zero. Okay, so that is it now. But if you want to initialize the array with zeros, then how will you do that? Let's say this is your array, then how will you initialize it with all zeros? Any answers?
If you declare this globally, then all values are 0.
Yeah, that is true. If you declare it globally, then it's initialized with 0 implicitly, but if it is local to a function, it is not. But here, if you want to explicitly initialize all of the values as 0, then what how can you initialize all of these 5 values in the array as 0?
Simply writing in bracket 0, comma 0, comma 0, but
Yeah, that is correct. If you do that, that is correct way of doing it. That is one way. There is also another way of doing it, which is you can simply write 0, only 0. Like this is a correct syntax in C. If you write this, it will initialize all of the 5 values as 0.
Only for 0?
Yeah, only for, no, only, not only for 0. If you write any other value also, like 5, say here, same, let's say this, then this will also work. It will create an array of 3 integers initialized as 5. Now, any one value, if you want to give same value to all the elements, then you don't have to write it repeatedly. You can just write simply like this and it will work. Is it clear? You can try this afterwards, or if you have if you want to try now, you can try now as well. You can quickly code and try to print the array and compile and check if it gets compiled or not.
मैंने चैट बॉक्स में देख लिया.
Okay. You've asked a question.
It's assignment question.
Oh, did you try to compile it? Let's try to do that. It's according to me, it should work. Then it doesn't, okay, sorry. It doesn't work for non-zero values. For non-zero, it is only initializing the first element, and all others are 0. But all of this should not be actually 0. They can be, so here it is printing 0, but that is, I think, the compiler. So your question was that you were telling that the other two values will be 0, but that is actually not always true. They can be garbage values. Like here it is printing them as 0, 0, but it is not necessarily that they will always be 0. They can be garbage as well. But this, I think it is because of the syntax that it is giving it this to value. 1 second. So when we give it 0, then all are 0. That's fine. But if I give here 1 and 2,
Then third will be 0.
third is 0 here. But according to like C semantics, it can be any garbage value. It doesn't have to
मैम जब कुछ
be.
इनिशियलाइज नहीं करते तब शायद गार्बेज वैल्यू होता. और ऐसे जब आधा उसको हम डिक्लेयर कर देते हैं, इनिशियलाइज कर देते हैं, तो आधा वो इम्प्लिसिटली वो 0 डिक्लेयर कर देता है.
Okay, I'll have to check because as think Okay, maybe, but I think I read it that it can be large. I'll have to check. I'll clarify this next time and keep note of this. Okay. So this is wrong. This I need to correct here. Thanks for pointing out. So this values, two values will be 0 here, and only the first value is initialized and with 5, and in this case here they are all zeros. Okay. Is there any other question?
No.
Okay, let's look at the next problem then. So the question is that an integer array of dimension 10 is declared in C program. The memory location of the first byte of the array is 1000. What will be the location of the ninth element of the array? Assume that integer takes 4 bytes of memory and the element stored at 1000 is identified as first element.
One 1036.
Okay. Others? So you might want to check that the first element is not the 0th element, it's the first element they're saying, and you have to calculate the location of the ninth element. So it's a little different from the usual indexing in C. Is the question clear to others? Any other answer apart from D? Okay, then tell me, what is the address of the first element?
1000.
Anyone else? What is the address of the first element? You can reply in the chat box. Okay, then what is the address of the second element?
1004.
Yeah, that's correct. So the first element is at address 1000. The second, so the elements in the array are of type integer. Every integer, it says it takes 4 bytes. So the first element is starting at 1000, 1001, 1002, 1003, and up to 1004. These many bytes will be taken by the first element. Second will start at 1004. Okay. Now I want everyone to try that what is the location of the ninth element of the array. You can just
Option D. Is option D is the correct answer?
okay. Others? Okay, let's look at, I mean, I am also not sure which is correct, so we can solve it. It's simple, but let's just look at it. Okay. Okay. So This is our array, let's say. Okay.
Option B should be correct.
Yeah, I think so. Let's look at it. This is the indexing of the array, okay? But the question is actually saying that if you look at the question, it is saying that the element stored at 1000 is identified as first element. So it's basically making it confusing for you. That this is the first element. This is the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. This is sorry, no. Correct. Yeah, right. So this will be the ninth element. And you have to find the address of this ninth element, which is like this. What is this address? When you're given that this is location 1000, this address is 1000. Now every element is of size 4 bytes. Okay. Now I asked you what is then the size of this second element. This is the second element. You said it will be 1004 because 1000 plus 4, then you will go, the second element will be at 1004. Now how many elements are here before this? How many elements are here? 0 to 7, just 8 elements. So what you have to do is the starting address 1000 plus number of elements into 4, which is the size of each size of integer. Okay, is that clear? Because there are 8 elements before the ninth element here. We are trying to calculate the address of the ninth element. The location of the ninth element, that is the starting address of the ninth element. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is it clear to you, Ravi Kumar?
Ma'am, can you please repeat once again?
Sure. Okay. So let's look at this again. Here, I'm saying that we are given in the question that there is an array of size 10. So this array is of size 10. That means it's an array of integers. Size 10 means there are 10 integers values that can be stored in this array. Now the array indexing starts from 0 in C, and now it is saying to you, the question is saying to you that assume that the first element is location is 1000. Okay, so addresses, what are addresses? Addresses are also integer values. Like if this is your program, if this is your memory RAM, then the RAM is also having addresses from 0 till the size of the RAM. Okay, maximum there is some size, say it is 4 GB. Okay, so So it's saying that let's say your array is stored somewhere in this memory and that address is 1000. First address, the element of the first element is 1000, and then 10 elements are stored like this in the memory, and which horizontally I'm showing here in this pink array. Okay, now it's saying that if the first element of the array is at location 1000 and every element is of size 4 bytes, then what is the location of the ninth element? This is the question. You have to find the address, starting address of this ninth element. That is the question. Now, to answer this, you only need to observe that before the ninth element, there are 8 elements. Okay, 0, 1, 2, up to 7, which is 8 elements are there before the ninth element, right? So if the address of the first element is 1000, then for every element 4 bytes are required. Then you can find the address of the ninth element as 1000 plus the number of elements before that element, ninth element, into 4. And simply if we look at this picture, like here, we can just see that the first element here is at starting at 1000, second is starting at 1004, third will be starting at 1008, then 1012, 1014, and so on. So the address of this ninth element, as we calculated, will be 1032. The mistake that you made was that you multiplied 4 by 9, but you are asked the location of the ninth element. So you have to consider only 8 elements because only 8 elements are before the ninth element. Is that clear? Okay, let's look at the next question. Sorry. Okay, fine. So what will be the output after execution of this program? And I want everyone to reply in the chat box.
One.
No output.
Okay. Others?
I think option it will print one as it find the minimum in an array.
Okay. I want others to try. Is there anyone who does not understand any syntax in this given program? Or are you all familiar with the syntax? So the correct answer is that it will print 1, and you also correctly observe that it is going to print the smallest element in the array. So let's go over the program and see. Let me see if I can copy this. It will be easier for me. Can't. Okay, I'll write then. Wait a minute. Until then, others can still try while I'm just writing it on the board. Okay, I've roughly copied it, and it is, there might be, like, it's not, some of the syntax might not be correct, but that's okay, I think. So here, first line is, we have an, like an array is defined here, okay? Array A, which is of size 4 in type integer, okay? That it is initialized to these values 3, 1, 2, 4. So if I represent it with this box, then it will be like this, okay? And as we already discussed, that the indexing of array in C starts with 0, 0, 1, 2, 3. So if we, so I want you to now answer this question, that if what will be the value of this? And Rohit, please don't reply this time. I want someone else to answer this, that what is the value of A0? So you have this array called named A, okay, of size 4, initialized with value 3, 1, 2, 4. And you have, I'm asking, what is A of 0? This, what is this value? A square brackets and inside there is 0. What is this value? Okay, can all of you just let me know in the chat box that do you understand arrays or not? Yes or no, you can write. Okay, fine. So okay, so I'm asking a question actually. I'm saying if A, so this is an array definition as we already discussed. Here A is the name of the array, and and A is an array of size 4 as declared with this syntax. It is of type integer, means that the elements stored in this array are integers. And this is the initialization list, which is assigning values to the array. And if I represent this like pictorially, then I can create it like this, like there are 4 elements stored in this order 3, 1, 2, 4, where the 0th element is 3, first element is 1, second element is 2, and third element is 4. Now here I'm asking, what is this syntax going to output? A square bracket 0. What is it? What is this syntax saying? So when we write a syntax like this, that A some array name, then square bracket, and then some integer inside this, like 0, then basically we are asking that what is the value at that index in array. Here I'm asking, basically this is saying that in array A, what is the value at index 0? So can you answer that English question, that what is the value at index 0? So this is, yeah, that's correct. So, sorry, I moved it again. So index, arrays in C starts from index 0, okay? And index 0 index, you can also use the term position index, but usually index is used. So what is the element at index 0? This is 3, okay, as you correctly said. Now anybody, now again try to answer that what is the value at index 2?
2.
Yeah, correct. So the value at index 2 is 2. Now then answer this, that what is the value in result variable when the second line executes? Malam?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the value in this variable result? At line 2.
Here of 2, ma'am.
So what is the value at A of 0? That value is being assigned to result here, right? We have equal assignment operator here, which is saying that whatever is there in the right hand side, assign that value to result. And A of 0, as we discussed, is 3. So the result variable will then have value 3 in it after the line number 2 executes. Now after that we have the for loop. Okay, for loop, we have an iterator variable here I, and I is starting from 1, and the condition is that I is less than 4, and on every iteration of the for loop we are going to increment the value of I by 1 by using the plus plus operator. Okay, so now when we enter the for loop, this is the array, the result variable has value 3. Now inside the for loop, the first statement is an if condition. Now the if condition is saying that if result is less than A of I, if result is less than A of I. Now in the first iteration of the for loop, what is I?
Zero.
That's not correct. Anybody else?
1, 1.
Yeah. So in the first iteration of the, yeah, it is 1, because the for loop we have started from in the for loop we have initialized the value of I as 1. So I is starting from 1, and in the first iteration we are comparing the value of result, current value of result variable, with the value of A of I. Now what is A of I? So I is 1. What is A of 1? Yeah, so A of 1 is 1. Now it's comparing, it's saying that if result, which is 3, is less than 1, then continue. But 3 is not less than 1. So this condition will be false. If it is false, then we do not continue. Instead, we go to this line, and here again we are going to change the value, like assign the value of a of I to result. A of 1 is 1, so 1 is assigned to result. Now the value in result becomes 1. I'll repeat this once, that here result is 3. Okay, a of 0 is 3. Then in the first iteration we compare here 3 less than 1. So this is false. 3 is not less than 1, right? So we go to this line. Here result is assigned a of 1, which is 1. So result becomes 1. I hope this much is clear. This was on the first iteration of the for loop. Now on the second iteration of the for loop, we will go here to I++. Okay, the variable I is incremented. It was 1, now it becomes 2. Now we go to the condition check. Now I is 2. 2 is less than 4. I'll use another color. It's checking is 2 less than 4, right? Like that's correct. 2 is less than 4. Now we come to the if condition. It's checking if result is less than a of I. Now what is a of I here? A of 2, because I is 2, so a of 2. It's comparing with a of 2. Now a of 2 is 2. And what is result? Result is 1, because that was updated in the previous iteration. So it's checking if 1 is less than a of 2. If 1 is less than 2, which is true. So if it is true, it will go to continue. What does continue do? Continue basically says that do not go to the next line in the for loop, directly go to the next iteration. So it goes back to I++. Now I'll use blue color for the third iteration. So now I was 2, I incremented, it becomes 3. Now it checks 3 is less than 4. Yes, 3 is less than 4 is true. So we again go to if condition. The result value was not changed in the previous iteration. It is still 1. So it is saying that compare the value of result, which is 1, with value of a of I. I is 3. A of 3 is 4. So it's saying 1 less than 4. It's true. So then again go to continue. Continue, again go to the next iteration. I++. I was 3, now it becomes 4. The condition becomes false here. 4 is less than 4 is not true. 4 is not less than 4. So this becomes false. We come out of the for loop and we come to this last line, which is print the value of result. And the variable result has value 1. So it will print 1. Now this is, I showed you step by step. If you go through the code and you will run it like step by step, then you arrive at this conclusion that the result will have variable has value 1. But if you look at it, look at this the code and try to understand its logic, like what the code is trying to do here, then it's basically saying that first let us initialize the value of the result variable with the first element in the array. Okay, that's what it is doing. Just initialize the result with the first element, which is 3 here. Then in every iteration of the for loop, it is checking the next current element. Okay, I'll just I'm going to explain it with some picture here, what it's doing. So this is your array. You had an array of size 4. What it's doing is that, let's say it's saying that result is equal to a of 0. This element, first element, is in result. Now it is taking one pointer. It's not like a pointer in C, but just like I'm saying, it's going to point to some element. It's going to, let's say, iterator, not a pointer, say iterator. It's going to take a variable to iterate over the rest of the array. The rest of the array, not from the first element, that's from starting from the second element. And at every element, it is checking whether this element is less than the result or not. If this current element is less than result, then update result. If not, then just go to the next element. And again check if this next element is less than result or not. Here it was 3, 1, 2, 4. Then like here, when we started from the second element, it is going to here ask a question that is this current element less than the result element or result variable or not. And it is true because currently it is 3, so it will change it and make it 1. Then it goes to the next element. Then again asks it, is it less than result or not? It is not less than result. So it just continues, does not update. Then it goes to next element, checks, is it less than result or not? It is not less. So it continues. Basically, that's the end of the array and it comes out the loop and it prints the value 1. So is that clear? Okay, let's look at the next question. Which of the statements is or are correct? An array may contain more than one element. All elements of array have to be of same data type. The size of the array has to be declared upfront. All of the above.
upfront क्या? Option C.
Upfront means, I think that it means that maybe before you start to say. So one method we saw was if we use an initialization list, but another way to initialize the array is with the for loop. So let's say you want to enter values in the array, then it is, I think in that case, it is saying that do you need to declare upfront, means before you can use the array, you need to tell that what is the size of the array, how many elements are there in the array.
Then option B will be correct.
But option A is also correct, no?
Yes sir. लेकिन ये बिना डिक्लेयर किए हुए भी तो हम उसको असाइन कर सकते हैं, तो फिर ऑप्शन सी कैसे? नहीं तो ऑल ऑफ द हो जाता.
So if you have this, let's say, then what will happen? Yeah, this is what I was talking about, the garbage values.
Yes sir.
Okay, there'll be something. This is where we gave it something, some size.
It will give error.
Now, if we do not give it a size, then it is saying array size missing. Okay. So before we can use it, we have to declare the size.
Then all of the above are correct.
Yeah. So all of these are correct. Array may contain more than one element. Actually, that is why we use array. So arrays are used because they can have more than one element. All the elements in an array are of same data type, and the size of the array has to be declared upfront. So all of these are correct statements. Now let's look at the next problem. What actually gets passed when you pass an array as an argument to a function?
Address.
Option C.
Someone else was also saying something.
Nitish Kumar.
Nitish, can you tell your answer?
Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah, I think it's option C.
Yeah, that's correct. So both of you gave the right answer, that when we pass an array as an argument to a function, then the address of the array is passed. And how do you pass an array? What's the syntax?
It's like at actual parameters, we need to use ampersand symbol.
Okay. Is
And
it
then,
okay? Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, and then at a formal parameter, we just, we can use another array at the formal parameters to get a copy.
Okay. But do you need to use the ampersand symbol?
No one.
Yeah, so you don't need to use
Yeah,
the ampersand.
just because it's an array, we don't need an ampersand.
Yeah. So the name of the array is actually the address of the array. It's the address of the first element, and that is the base address. That is called the base address. The base address of an array means the address of the 0th element, or the first element. 0 I'm saying because indexing is from 0, or I can also say it's the first element. And that is called the base address, and the name of the address is actually the base address of an array. So you do not need any ampersand symbol. And as a formal, in the formal arguments, the like if you're trying to pass an integer array, then you can write int star, or you can write int and then the square bracket. So if you have this function, if you're trying to pass this array, say to function foo, then you can just write here array, and that will pass the address, base address. And in the foo declaration, let's say foo is a function which is returning value int, and you can here write int star. Any you can give any name here. Say you can give it what name? Say result. So we can write here int star, or we can also write int result, or all of these, you can write int star, you can write int with square bracket, you can write int and then the size of the array also, and all of these will be correct. But usually I think you will have to also pass another parameter, which is the size of the array, in case it is not a global variable. Okay. Next question.
Ma'am, what if
Yeah.
ma'am, what if I have an array of size greater than 5, so that when I pass that array to that third declaration, int 5 of result.
If it is greater, I think it should give an error, because at compile time, it should be a compile time error. Let's check. So all we have to do is create here, say sum, I'll call it sum, like that name would be better. Int, say 5 array. Okay, return, say I'll just return 0 plus. For now, let's just return this much. Happened. Giving me int. Int star it is not giving, but int square bracket. Let's try. Implicit declaration of function sum. I guess it is not the correct. Okay. Sorry about that. Think. Yeah, this is the right way. Okay, so if we do this, so this pair of square brackets is actually not with int, it's with the name array here in formal arguments. Now we can print this value, although it's not needed, but now the question is that here we did not have any, we did not specify any size, and it did not give us any error also. Okay, now if we specify the size here as 5, then what will happen? There's no error. Okay. And what happens if we try to use all of these values? Okay. Okay, I understand. I get. So it is not giving any error here because let's see if this should also give an error. This also doesn't give any error. So that is actually sort of in C. You can also say that this is probably one of the weaknesses in C, that it is not very memory safe. Like even if you declare the array of size say 10, you can keep accessing values which are beyond 10. Like it will not give you any error. So I think that is the reason why here in this case, like 1, 2, 3, like for example here, like forget about this for a while, the sum, how to pass array as and array to a function. Let's talk about this first, that if we have an array here, I've declared an array of size 3 and initialized the values as 1 2 3, then in C actually we can access the elements even beyond 3. I mean, since it considers the array only as like a pointer. So when we say get me the element which is located at here location 4, C does not know actually that how many elements are there in the array. So when you are doing this iteration over this loop, which is for running for 10 times, and you try to print all of those values in the array at those locations, so it is printing for you all of these values which are actually garbage, which is there in the memory. Does this make sense? What I'm only trying to say here is that C does not make any check that whether the element that you're trying to access, is it outside the array bounds or not. So you can basically write outside or read outside your array size.
Yes, ma'am, it's clear, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. So when I think that is the only, that is then it makes sense that when you here pass array, which is the address of the array, and it is still not going to check what is the size. So whether you say here 15 10 doesn't 100 whatever, it doesn't matter, and you can access that many elements. Also you can access any location basically using that address of the array. But to write a correct to write for you, I think the correct practice would be to use the correct size, and also to pass the size of the array as another variable, another argument, and always ensure in your code, like so that it is correct, that always you access elements within the array bounds. Okay. So that question that you asked was like, the question was that if I write here 5 but the array size is actually of 10, then will it give it an error or not? So it doesn't give any error. And the syntax is also wrong here. This you can write, this you will write here. I think it's fine. Okay. Which problem? Okay, then what is the output of the following C program? We have mean, try to solve it while I'll just note it down on the board. Any answers?
Three, four.
Okay. Okay, I think it should be 4, 4. Can you check again?
I think it should be 4, 5.
Okay, I think it should be 4, 4. Can you check again?
Yes, ma'am. 4, 4. 4, 4.
Okay. So, should I start explaining? Or you want to try for more time?
I want to try now.
Okay, yeah, you can try.
Yes, some you can explain.
Okay. Okay, so we have one variable here, a of integer variable here. Then we have array of size 5, type integer, with initialized to value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, after that here we have first let's come to the right hand side. Here we are doing plus plus array 1. So this is saying that the increment the first element in the array. Okay, and it's a pre-increment. So in this assignment, what you have to be careful about is that when you are assigning the value of the right hand side, and if it is a pre-increment, then the value is assigned after the increment is done. If it's a post increment, as in the line 4, then first the value is assigned, then the value is incremented. So here first incremented, okay, and then assigned. Sorry about my handwriting. Then assigned. It's in case of a pre-increment. Okay, here it is first opposite, it is first assigned and then incremented. Okay, so if we remember this, then the value of a first element in array here is 2. Okay, this. Then we will first increment it. It will become 3. And that is also visible in the array. Actually, we are incrementing the value in the array, so it's getting changed in the array. Okay, it becomes 3. Then we assign it to the first element in the array. Basically, it's being assigned here, so maybe I'll just cut it again and write 3 to show you that first it is changed on the right hand side, then it is assigned with the equal operator again to the same index 1. So the second element after this becomes 3. Now coming to line number 4, here we have a post increment. So it is saying that increment the element at position 1, which is 3. But first we are going to assign the value to A. So A will then become 3, and value of array, value of first element will become 4. Okay, then on line number 5, we have here, it's saying that the value of the array at location A plus plus. So A is 3, A plus plus, again it is a post increment. Okay, it's a post increment. So A will be incremented later. First, the value of A which is going to be used here is 3. So array of 3 is a going value which is in array of 3, which is going to be assigned to array of 1. So it is 4 here, and that is assigned here. So it was 4, it remains 4. Okay, and value of A is incremented, so it becomes 4 from 3. And if we print, then it is 4 and 4. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, let's look at the next problem. Again, it is asking you what is the output of this program.
Nine will be printed.
Okay. Others? Anybody else? Okay, let's look
No,
at.
ma'am. You can explain.
Okay. Okay, so here we have first again we have a integer p, then we have the array of size 10 with the elements 1 2 3 4 5 6 9 10. The last two elements are missing. Yeah, they'll be garbage. No, not garbage, they'll be 0. Okay, so after that we have we're trying to compute some value in p on line number 3 here. Okay, so first we have here we have written ARR, which is the name of the array. And as we discussed, the name of the array is actually the base address of the array. And when we do then the next thing is that we are adding 1 to it. So okay, so here it is like the pointer arithmetic. Pointer arithmetic, what does pointer arithmetic means? The pointer in pointer arithmetic, the rule is like this, that when you say that pointer plus 1, then the pointer value is incremented with the size of the data type to which the pointer is pointing. Okay, so here array plus 1 means array is pointing to an integer because it's an array of integer, so it's pointing to an integer. When you say array plus 1, it is going to increment the value of array by the size of integer. That is, it is now going to point to the next element. Okay, so if just I'm going to repeat in like with an example. So let's say the base address is 1000 and the size of the integer is 4 bytes, then array is 1000. So the ARR value is 1000, and when we say ARR plus 1, it is 1004. Okay, that is pointer arithmetic. So when we do any arithmetic operation on pointer like addition, subtraction, these plus 1, minus 1, then the size of, not the size, the pointer is incremented or decremented according to the size of the data type to which it is pointing. Here it is pointing to an integer of 4 bytes, so it is incremented by 4, by value 4. Now this is the what is written inside this parenthesis. Okay, now after that the next syntax is this square bracket 5. Now what does square bracket 5 means? It is basically this, also you can rewrite it like ARR plus 1 plus 5 and then the star, which is the dereference operator. This is same as this. It is saying that add to the pointer 5 and then get me the value at that location. Okay, so basically it is here going to again increment the value of the pointer by 5 and then fetch the value at that location. So now it was first ARR is pointing to the first element. When we do plus 1, it is pointing to the second element. Then we have to do plus 5 times. So third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and then this 7th element. This is 5 times we are going to do the increment. This 5. And now we are at this position. So star is going to give us the value at that position, which is 9. And that we are storing in P. Print, and then we print P. So P is 9. So 9 gets printed here. This is the alternate representation, but definitely you understand from earlier that whenever we say array of 5, what does that give? The 5th element in the array. Here with this syntax here, we have just changed the base address. Okay, earlier the base address was 1000, which we have changed to only 1000 plus 4, let's say 1004. After that again this remains same, that is get me the 5th element starting from this address, which is array plus 1. Is that clear? Why it is getting value
Yes,
of
ma'am.
9? Okay. Yeah, there is a hand raised. You can unmute yourself and
Yes, Ma'am, I have not understood this thing. In the question, there is no dereferencing sign, right? So,
Yeah.
so basically, the computed value will be a address number. But then P is not a pointer, so it will not accept a pointer like the computed value will be a address number. So
Okay.
we will not give any error.
No. So actually, so both of these notation, both of these syntax are actually equivalent. That's what I said, that if you write this like star, then array plus 1 plus 5, that is equivalent to this syntax here. So in C, when you write array, then square bracket and some index in that actually gives you the value at that index. It is a dereference. This square bracket is also a dereference operator here. It's going to give you the value, not the pointer.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So if there are no more questions in this one, let's look at the next one. So an array of void data type. There are 4 options. So which is the correct one?
Last one.
Who said that? Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so you cannot have an array of void data type. That's the answer. So it is not possible to have an array of void data type. Now moving on to the next problem. It's simple problem. So you have to also again tell what is the output of the program, which is like the print. What is the output of this print statement?
$20.
Yeah, that's right. Does other wants to try, or should I go ahead and explain?
One second, ma'am.
Sure.
NTN. Yeah, 20.
Yeah. Okay. So here we have first a variable n of type integer, initialized with value 3. Then there is another integer sum assigned value 4. Then we have the switch statement. Here switch is inside the switch we are using the variable n. Based on the value of the n, we will some case is executed. If the value of n does not match with the value of any cases, then the default statements are executed. So here n is 3. So that means we will go to case number 3. In case number 3, the statement is sum star equal 5, which is actually the multiplication assignment operator, multiplicative assignment operator, which we can also rewrite as sum is equal to sum multiplied by 5. So sum value is 4. So 4 multiplied by 5 will be assigned to sum, which is 4 multiplied by 5 is 20. 20 is assigned to sum. Then we have break here. So we go to the last line here, second last print statement, and we print sum, it is 20. Now, question for you. If I remove this break statement, then what is the output of the program?
0.
Yeah. Others? In the same program, if I remove the break statement, then what is the output? Right, that's correct. So another question, if the value of n, if I change the value of n as 2,
10.
then what is printed? I'm
10,
changing.
ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. So that is because if we change any other answer, should it not be 2?
Yes, ma'am. Wait.
10 is correct.
Sum is equal to sum minus 2, 4 minus 2, 2 and 2.
But there is no break statement.
Yes, ma'am. 10 it will.
Okay. Anybody has any other answer? So 10 is correct. It is correct. Like I'm saying here, if n is equal to 2, not 3, then the case 2 will be executed. In case 2, we are going to change the value of sum. We are subtracting like 2, so it will become 2. Now, since there is no break statement, it will execute the next case, which is sum equal to sum times 5. So 2 times 5 will be assigned to sum. So it becomes 10. After that, there is a break. So it goes and then prints 10. It's very important to have breaks after the cases. Otherwise, if you jump to any case, it will execute all the cases below that. Okay. Next question. How many A's will be printed when the following code is executed?
Six.
10.
Okay, we have 6, 10. Any other answer?
1.
1. Okay. 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 Let's wait for others to also try.
So I think it will print A, character A 6 times.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. As one of the printf it out of while loop.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Let's I'll go over it. Here itself, it is not, if it is not clear, then I'll go to the whiteboard. Okay. So here it's first we have variable I, type integer equal to 0. Then we have variable C, which is a character assigned with character value A. Then we have the while loop. In the while loop, we have the condition is a condition that while I is less than 5. So the loop will break, like not the break, loop will execute until the value of I is less than 5. The first statement in the while loop is incrementing the value of I. So on every iteration of the while loop, the value of I is incremented by 1. So the loop will execute 5 times. Okay. Then we have switch statement here, which is using the variable C. So C variable has value, character value A. Then there is case A. Okay. So based on the value of C, whichever case matches with it, that case is executed. So C is character A, and that matches with this case character A. So then it will print the value of C, which is character A. Okay, so it will print value A. Then after that it breaks. Okay, then we go to the next iteration. So in this manner, 5 iterations of the while loop will execute, and in every iteration of the while loop, we are printing the value of the character C, which is A. So 5 times A is printed inside the while loop, and after the while loop also we are printing A. So one more A will be printed on the screen because of this. So total 6 times A is printed. Any questions? Okay.
So at the end of the switch statement, there is no need to put break.
Yeah.
Even without break, it terminates.
Yeah, without break also it will work. That is true. Okay, let's look at the programming questions now. Okay, so the first question here is, I hope it is visible. If not, just let me know. So it says that write a C program to find the largest element of an integer array. So in one of the quiz questions, we had seen that the program was trying to find the smallest element. The program found the smallest element of the integer array. Now here the question is that how will you find the largest element of the integer array? And as your input, you are first given the size of the array. Then let's say it is n elements are there in the array, and after that you will be given n elements, and you have to print the largest one. For like the input is, let's say 4, that is the size of the array. After that 4 values will be given. Here they are, that is minus 400, minus 800, minus 700, minus 50, and then you have to print the largest value in it, which is minus 50. In second test case, here we have input as first the size of the array, which is 7. Then 7 values are here as 60, 70, 200, 12, 40, minus 90, 60. And the largest among them is 200. So we are going to print largest element as 200. Now the question is that write a program, C program, to find the largest element of an integer array. Now like think about it, and if you have thought about it, then write it in the chat box. You don't have to write the entire program, just the critical part. Is the question clear? ओके
जैसे लेसन में वो शॉर्टेस्ट नंबर फाइंड किया था एक ना, वैसे ही हम कर सकते हैं भाई, साइन चेंज कर रहे हैं.
yeah, it's similar, only the if condition is going to get changed. Yeah, so I'll just explain it on the whiteboard once, and then we'll just look at the code quickly. Okay, so let's take an example array as 3, 1, 2, 4. Okay, now the problem, this is our input. So what will be the output? Can anybody tell what will be the output if this is the input?
4.
Yeah. So you are expected to write a program to output the largest element in the given array. Okay, this is your given array with elements 3, 1, 2, 4. The largest element in this array is 4. So your program should output 4. Okay. Now what we are going to do is that in the program we are going to take a variable. Let's call it the max. Okay, int max. Okay, and we are going to initialize this with the first element. If this array name is ARR, okay, I'm assuming this array name is ARR, then we are going to initialize this variable max with the first element, which is ARR bracket 0. Okay, after that we are going to iterate over the rest of the elements starting from 1 till the size of the array, and so starting from here. Now when I am at this position in the array, what do I want to know? I want to know whether this current element is greater than the current max or not. If this element is greater than the current max, then I should update the current max value with this element. If it is not greater, then I should not do anything. I should just go to the next element. So we are going to check here in the if condition, if array I is greater than max, if it is greater than max, then we are going to here change max to array I. Otherwise we are not going to do anything. If it is not greater, we are going to move to the next iteration. So if I run this on this given input, then first max is here initialized to 3. Okay, then on the first iteration I is equal to 1, we are going to check array of 1 is greater than max, that is 1 is greater than 3. No, it is not greater, so then we do not go inside the if inside if. We just go to the next iteration, which is to the next element at index 2, and then we are going to check if 2 is greater than 3. Not greater, so again we move to the next one element. Then we again check if 4 is greater than 3. Yes, 4 is greater than 3 is true, so then we change max is equal to 4. It becomes 4 here. If there was another element here, say 1, then we would go to the next element. Okay, then we are going to again check that 1 greater than 4, it will be false. So after it, when the for loop finishes, the value in max variable is the largest element of the array, which is 4 in this case. Is any question? Okay, let's move on to the next problem. Write a C program to print the array elements in reverse order, not reverse sorted, basically it is only asking you to print the elements of the array in reverse. So for example, if the input is say this, that first input value is saying how many elements are there in the array, then you have these are the values in the array, which is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Now you have to print this array in reverse order, that is 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. Another, I'll just give another example on the whiteboard here, that if your array is say 25, 3 to 70, then your program output, okay, I'll not tell, I want one of you to answer that if this is your input 25, 3 to 70, then if you understood the problem, then what is the expected output from the program?
Seventy, 2, 3, 5, 20.
Yeah, that's correct. So you need to print the array in reverse order. Now how will you do that?
Firstly, we can find the length of that array. And simply by using for loop, we can print this.
Yeah. Can you write that syntax in the chat box?
Firstly, we find the length of that string. If here is 5 let, then we can use for I is equal to 0 to I is equal to 5 and I plus plus, and print ARR 5 minus I.
Okay. Okay. Does anyone else wants to try?
But in the assignment portal of NPTEL, they had already given that printing statement as default. We don't modify. We don't have access to that. So that how can we do? I don't know how to do.
So by instead of printing, we can assign that value in a different array. We can declare a different
Sorry,
array.
I did not understand Nitish concern about that. I mean, what is that?
मैम उसने कहा कि जो एरे है वो इसी एरआर को ही चेंज कर देना है reverse
Okay,
order.
okay. Yeah. So is this question part of your assignment?
Yes.
Is the assignment already submitted?
Yes, ma'am, already submitted.
Okay.
पता नहीं week 6.
Then we can do like something else. I have an idea.
Okay, okay, sure. Go ahead.
I mean, if there are like 5, length of array is 5, then we can run it half times, means divide it by 2, so it will run 2 times. Means I'm trying to do like exchanging the orders values to if the first index array has value 70, then we can exchange it to the last part with the help of a new variable. Like we can take it as a temporary variable in a for loop.
Okay.
Got it? I think it's not clear.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I did the same thing, but after that half part, the remaining half value.
No, yeah, that will also be correct. But if we don't run this full time, if the length of array is 5, then we shouldn't run it 5 times. We should have to write it only 2 times.
Yeah, because the middle element doesn't change.
Yes, mid will be the mid only. It doesn't need to be changed, right?
Yeah. In case of odd number of elements, mid is not getting changed.
In case of odd element, there are respective, so it will exchange the respective things.
Got it, yeah. Yeah, you're right. So my question is this, if this is part of your assignment, then when is the deadline?
I think
I did not.
I think it was already over.
Okay, then it's fine to discuss. Yeah, so that's correct. So one. Okay, so yes, you said the printing statement in the NPTEL portal is cannot be changed. So I think it is printing the array. So that means we have to change the array itself in place. Yeah, without using any other array, we have to change it. If we even if we use another array, that is also fine. I think you can just store. Easy way is that you store all of these values in reverse order in some other array. Then copy that array to the original array. That also will work, right?
Work, ma'am.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is one easy way. Okay. But if the constraint is say that you should not use any more memory, you should not use any other array, no more memory, then you have to, as you suggested, you can swap the values. So
Yeah.
so pictorially, what you said was this, that if this is your array, then you want to like swap these values, and so on. You have to do. So this will become 70, 20. This will become 2, 5, while the middle remains the same if this is odd. So you have to swap the first index with the last, then the second with the last second, and so on. You have to do this like this. Okay, one pointer is going to be at the beginning, one pointer is at the last. So you are going to swap these two values, then you increment this pointer, decrement this pointer, then again swap, then you again increment, again decrement this swap, and you will do this until these pointers like basically they are like, until, let's say if this is I and this is j, you will do this until I is strictly less than j. If I and j become equal, then you will stop. If I becomes greater than j, you stop. So if I write this as a code, then it will be like while I is less than j, we have I is equal to 0, j is equal to the size of the array minus 1. Okay, if array has 5 elements, then it is 5 minus 1, 4, because array is 0 indexed. And then you are basically saying swap array of I, array of j. That's all. And in the swap function, as we have seen different ways to do swapping, one of them, say int I, int a, int b, I should say. We will take another variable, temp, store a in temp, then you will change a to b, then you will say b is equal to temp. In this case, if you are going to use different if you're going to use here a different function to do this, then you will have to pass these values as pointers. It's okay, I don't want to make it more complicated for you to understand, so let's do it. Let's assume that this is the code which we are writing here. Temp is equal to array I is equal to array of j, and then j is equal to temp. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's look at the next one. So the question is, write a C program to read two one-dimensional arrays of same data type, which is integer, and merge them into another one-dimensional array of same type. So you will so in input, say first you are given the size of the first array, which is three elements. So you're going to read 3 elements, 15, 45, 25. Then again some size of the another array, which can be different also, but in this example it's 3. So you're again reading 3 more elements, 60, 70, 80, and you have to output the merged array, which is 15, 45, 25, 60, 70, 80. Merged into another one-dimensional array. So you can create one more array. You have to create one more array and then print, like copy all of these values from these two arrays into that and print. So how will you do that?
Ma'am, firstly we can declare a new array.
Yeah.
And yes, ma'am. And which size is equal to n1 plus n2 if n1 and n2 are the size of array 1 and array 2 respectively.
Yeah.
यस मैम, और एरे 1 को हम उसमें डाल देंगे और फिर जो एरे न्यू में फिर से हम उसको इनपुट कराएंगे और उसमें जो फॉर लूप जैसे मान हम चला रहे हैं फॉर i इक्वल टू 0 लेस देन n2 i प्लस प्लस देन एरे न्यू in square bracket n1 plus I is equal to array 2 of I.
Yeah. Array 2 of I. Okay, I is equal to, I is starting from 0, right?
Yes.
And so array 1 is your original first array, array 2 is your original second array, right? And new array is your new array. Okay. Array new, fine. N1 plus I. Yeah, I think that's correct. So in the new array, you are going to print, so first you are copying the elements in array 1 to the, so in the chat box, I'm like looking at the chat box. So first for loop, you're copying the value in the original first array to the new array. Then after that, you are going to here copy the value of the second array in the new array, but starting from index n1. And since the for loop is from 0, so you copy till n2 elements and then you are printing. That's correct. And is there any question? Okay, let's look at the last problem. So write a C program to delete duplicate elements from an array of integer. And here also, I think the constraint is the same as the second problem, that you have to modify the original array. And basically you have to print the original array. So the simpler way, as we discussed earlier, that you create a new array and then copy back to the original array and you can still print. But the problem here is that you have to delete all the duplicate elements.
We can declare जैसे first element program ले लें उसको and we will compare it with all and each element of that array, and if it is equal then we will replace replace it by the next one continuously till the last.
Okay. Mm. Can you write it? And while others can also think about it.
With the help of nested loop, I think we can do this.
Okay. Yeah, how will you do that? Is less than num plus plus 5. What is position? POS variable? So I think you guys are on the right idea that we have to use multiple for loops and like nested loops, and also that when we see a duplicate element, then we have to shift the elements from the right hand side, like copy the elements from the right hand side to it, to delete these elements. Like here when you see that you check, let's say you first check, this is your input elements, there are 6 elements. First you are at element 50, you check for 50, so you are at index 0, then you're going to use the nested for loop to check is there any duplicate of 50. So you are going to iterate from the first element till the last and check is there a duplicate of 50. So there is no duplicate, so nothing happens. Then you come to the next element 6. Then for again you are going to check is there duplicate, there is no duplicate, so you again do not do anything. Okay, do nothing. Then you come to next element 7. Now you again check for duplicates of 7 starting from this, like in this subarray. So first you compare with this element, so this is also 7. So what you do is that you are going to copy the rest of the elements here. What you are going to do, change it as to this. So now your array will become this 2 and 7. Okay, now you are going to check the next element, that is 2 equal to 7. It's not, so you don't do anything. Then you're going to check is 7 equal to 7. Yes, so here you are going to decrement the size of the array, and now only this much is left in the array. Like you have basically deleted the other 2 duplicates. It may not be clear, so let me just quickly go over the code here and then I will again go over the example. So here, leaving the initial declaration of the array, coming to the main part of the code is that the first for loop is actually iterating over each element in the array. Okay, so initially the size of the array is, let's say you like scan the size of the array, that is your first value in the input. Okay, that is the original size. So the size, you're going to iterate over each element. Now when you are at ith element, then starting from I plus 1th element, you are going to check for duplicates of the ith element. Okay, so the first loop is actually iterating over the array. The second for loop here is checking for duplicates in the right side array, right side sub array. Okay, that is the sub array from I plus 1 to last size. Okay, then how do you check for duplicate? You check for every element in this sub array, that whether any element is equal to the ith element or not. So if the jth element is equal to the ith element, then you have to, what do you do? Right shift the array from j plus 1 to size. Okay, that is basically you are going to here delete the jth element by changing the jth element as j plus 1. So here we are another for loop for that, with the loop variable as k. K is starting from j up to the size, and here you change like if the original I'm just going to give an, if the, like we saw, if the original is array is 7 to 7 and you want to delete this 7, then you are going to copy here in place of 7 you copy here 2, in place of 2 you copy 7. So that is what is happening here. Okay, and since you have right shifted once, you reduce the size of the array once, and if you now again in the next iteration you are going to check for 2. Now since 2 is not equal to 7, we don't do anything, we come to else, that is we are going to increment the value of j plus j. So then we go to 7. Now 7 is again a duplicate, so we again come here. Here this is going to be, it's saying that array of k is array of k plus 1, but it is actually not less than size. It shouldn't happen. But okay, so this for loop actually does not run here because this is the last element, and so since this is the last element and k is strictly less than the size here, so this will not actually run because there is no k plus 1th element after that. It shouldn't run, but it is actually decreasing the size of the array once. Okay, since it is decreasing the size of the array once, this automatically gets kicked out, so only 2 is left in the array. Is the code clear? If it is not, then I'll write it on the white, like do a pictorial run of this in the whiteboard.
Yes, clear.
Is it clear to others?
Can you explain in whiteboard?
Okay. Okay, so the question, yeah, so we have to delete duplicate. Okay, and the original, so the example that I will use the same example, that is 6 50 6 7 2 7, sorry, 7 7 2 7. So 56 7 7 2 7, this is our array. Okay, so what we are going to do is, here we have, as we saw from the code, we have nested loop, like 3 for loops. Okay, the first for loop here is actually iterating over the array. It's going to iterate over each element in the array. The second for loop is checking for duplicates, and the third for loop is modifying the array. Okay, so first for loop iterates, second check for duplicate, third is modify the array. Now first for loop, let's say, is the variable in the first for loop is I. Okay, so this is I. Now the second, which is checking for duplicate, that in for loop variable is, let's say, j. It starts from I plus 1 and it is going to check for duplicate till the end of the array, right? So here for the first element, which is 50, we are going to compare it with 6. So 6 is not equal to 50, so we increment j. 7 is also not 50, again increment j. 7 is again not 50, increment j. 2 is not 50, again increment j, and so on till the end. So 50 was not there, and the for loop, the first for loop coming back here, this basically, this if condition was never true. Since this if condition was never true, always the else condition was true, and the j was kept just getting incremented again and again. Now we are going to come back to the first for loop I. Now what happens when we come back to the first for loop I? We increment, that is the next, on the next iteration, here we are going to increment I. Now I is pointing to the next element 6. Now we are going to check for duplicates of 6. Now as you can see that there are no duplicates of 6 here, so it will be same as before. J will be kept in, will keep getting incremented again and again, and this is like nothing, no change will happen in the array. Again, once j for loop finishes, then we are coming back to the I for loop, and value of I is getting incremented. Now we go to the third element in the array, 7. J is pointing to the next element in the array, which is also 7. Now for the first time in this execution, we see that both the values at index I and j are equal. Now what happens when they are equal? Now when they are equal, the next for loop, third for loop, get executed. And what the third for loop is doing is that it is modifying the array to delete the jth duplicate element. It is basically removing this. Now how does it remove this? It removes this by shifting the elements on this side. Okay, so it is going to change the array so that it is going to copy the value. It's going to copy the value 2 at position of at the jth position here, which is 7, and then this gets copied here. It is right shifting all the elements. Now this is the new array. In this new array, this is I, and this is still j. J was not changed actually in this. Okay, if you go back to the code and if you see here in this, if array I, j are equal, then we just right shift it, change the size of the array, because now one element is less, but we do not change j. So j is still wherever it was earlier. And it is important because we want to compare it with the next element. Okay, so now we compare 7 with 2. They are not duplicates of each other, so then j is incremented. Now 7 and 7, like I and j are both pointing to 7, that is, again we have found a duplicate. Now when we have found a duplicate, again we want to remove this duplicate. To remove this duplicate, we copy the elements, we right shift the array. Okay, now here, since the array does not have any elements on its right hand side, so that nested for loop is actually not, the third for loop does not get executed. What happens is that this does not get executed. Okay, only this statement get executed, which is size minus minus. So the size of the element will be reduced. So since the size is basically getting reduced, so only this much of the array will be printed. So this is your output which is going to get printed. So finally your array is this, which is free of duplicates. Sorry, there's some lag between this. There's some lag between my iPad and the whiteboard here. So what I'm saying is that the seventh element is not going, sorry, the last element is not going to be part of the array. Only the first 4 elements are going to be part of the array, and that is what it is going to print. Is this clear now? Oh no.
Ma'am,
Okay, I'm really sorry. Some
am I
connection
audible?
issue. Yeah, you are audible now. When did I lose connection? Did I finish this part?
Yes, ma'am, you had come.
Okay. So
Yes, ma'am, at last.
okay, sorry about that. I think.
Yes, ma'am, you had explained.
Okay, so is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Is there any other question?
Ma'am, I have doubt in two-dimensional array.
Okay. Yeah, you can ask.
Ma'am, I want to know the initialization part of two-dimensional array.
Okay. Look at that. So the way you are going to declare, I'll come back to the whiteboard.
Whether this meeting was time constrained, it was up to 8.
Yeah, it
It
is
was like
usually
that.
up to 8, but it's okay. I think.
So sorry for that, ma'am.
No, it's fine. So let's say we have an array. So this is the syntax to declare here I'm declaring an array, two-dimensional array of size 3 by 3. There are 3 rows, 3 columns, and it is an integer array. Okay, so now to initialize this, we can use a nested for loop here. First for loop is going to, so first let me just represent this as a matrix so that I can, then it will be easier for me to explain in the for loop. Okay, so these are the rows. This is a row 0, row 1, row 2. Okay, these are the columns, column 0. We can also call them column 1, column 2, and so on, but I'm just trying to keep it consistent with the indexing. Okay, column 0, 1, and 2. I have to reduce this. Okay, now let's say we want to initialize this with some values from the input. Okay, so how we are going to take some input. So here we have for loop. First we are going to so you can fill the values either in the row wise, or you can fill also in the column wise. What I mean by that is that you can either fill the values in row wise order, like first fill the first row, then second row, then third row. This is a good practice because of the way the array is stored in the memory. In the memory, the array is stored actually in row wise order. But you can also fill the array, not fill, basically traverse the array in the column order. You can also fill like first the 0th column, then the first column, the second column. Now I'm going to here just, let's fill this array in the row wise order. Okay, first row 0, then row 1, then row 2. So what happens? I is equal to here 0. Change the color back to pink. So I is 0. I is, let's not call it, let me call just row, then it will be easier to follow. So for a row 0, row is less than 3, row plus plus. Okay, the first for loop we are using to traverse the rows. Then the next for loop we are going to use to traverse the columns. Okay. Okay, if this much is like we have two nested loops. Inside the loop, what we are going to do is we are going to here say take some value from the input, and that value will be stored at row and column, the current row and the current column. So when we start this for loop, then initially the row is here 0. Okay, then we come to the next the nested for loop, column initially is 0. So the first value that you will scan from your input will be stored at array 0 0. Okay, then your column variable is incremented to 1. It is still less than 3, so then next value is stored at column 0 1. Then again column is incremented, so that value is going to be saved at 0 2. Now when you increment column value once more, it becomes 3. This check will fail, so you will go back to the first for loop. Row will be incremented, so when row is incremented, it will become row 1. So 1 is less than 3. So now all of the values in the columns that you're going to scan, they are going to be saved in the next row, that is array 1 0 and so on. Okay.
Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
Okay.
Okay. Another one, ma'am.
Yeah.
Whether is it possible to initialize at the time of declaration, and how can I do that, ma'am?
Yeah, I think it is possible. That is the syntax, if I'm not correct, I'm sorry, if I remember correctly, I think that is same, like you can say int array 3 3. Let's use a smaller array, say 2 2. Then you can use the same initialization list 1 2 3 4. Now it will be actually again they will be added in the row wise order, so it's like 1 2 3 4, like that. There are 2 rows.
Then we don't need to use two curly braces, one for the row, not one for the column, not like that, ma'am.
I am, let me just quickly check, because yeah, I think we do not need,
Yeah.
yeah, we don't need no, we do need actually. Okay, because I think both of them can be done, like you both of them are possible. Like if you do this, then that is also correct. You like it won't give you any error, but the better way, which is more readable way, is to use the other form, which is to use this method. So first one is also is correct. It won't give you any error, but it is not much readable. So the second method is preferable actually.
Yes, ma'am. Today I had seen one question. In that question, it was given like you had explained the first way, like that they had given. So I got confused, ma'am. That's why I asked you.
Okay. So yeah, both of them I think are correct, but the second one is more preferable. Okay.
So whenever the array is initialized like one-dimensional array for 2D arrays, then it will take the size of that row up to that values, and then for the next row it will take the next value.
Yeah, you have to specify the size of the column in that case. That is very important. So size of the, yeah, like this column size. Because otherwise it cannot understand that what is the, how many element it has to put in the first row, in each row. That is very important in that case. Like if you do not know that there are 2 elements in the first row, then how will you decide whether to put 1 element, 2, 3, or how many?
Yes, ma'am, it's clear. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. I'll just
Thank you for your extra effort, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
no, you're welcome. You can always ask me questions.
Also, I had missed all the previous week live sessions, ma'am.
Okay.
Today I got to know about these things. So
Okay.
I joined today, ma'am.
Okay, so there are three live sessions every week. One is on Friday, 6 to 7. That is, then there are 2 on Tuesdays from 6 to 7, and each one is taken by a different person. Like, I'm taking this from 6 to 7. There are 2 more TAs who are taking those other sessions. Okay, and usually I think we all of them cover almost the similar set of problems. You can also join the upcoming session on Friday. That will be for week 7. And if you want to look at the previous recordings, those are also there. Like everything that we have in all of the TA sessions get recorded, and the recordings are put on YouTube. So if you can check your announcements in the course webpage. I think you can find the link to those recordings there.
Sure, I will check, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, I'll just stop
Thank
the
you, ma'am.
recording.